it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. Today I've got a long project for you. That's my little warning there, but I am making a mini album and these do take a long time. So I should be showing you how to make these. I'm actually showing you how to make this one, and this is the one that I sort of made, not as a prototype because it's not a prototype, and it's using Twinkle Twinkle and First Steps stamp set to make this mini album with these photo mats and little tags there with a cute little land, and then there's little pockets there with the lovely feet, pitter patter of tiny feet. That's what we say, don't we? So stay tuned and I'll show you how I made this lovely album. So this Twinkle Twinkle DSP is just perfect for baby projects, male projects indeed, if you saw my one sheet wonder. So I looked through and decided was picking out to make a baby girl album and a baby boy album. So I've picked these 3 sheets here. I seem to have dislodged my thing. So these all coordinate lovely together, and when you flip it the other side there, you've got the pinks, and then you've got grey, which is the other side of the soft sea foam. So I thought they would make nice insides and they would make nice outsides, but I might change my mind. And then equally I wanted to look for a boyish one. I'm going very stereotypical on colours. I don't normally, well I don't say I don't normally. When my kids were little I never did that, but my boys were always in purples and multicoloured things. So this is the one that I've chosen for the boy. So we've got that lovely Night of Navy, which if you watch my one sheet wonder, and I used the granite grey version of this, I did say that the Night of Navy would look lovely, and it would, but I had it put aside for this project, and I've used the other sheet on a different project. So there we have it. That's going to be the baby boy one. So the first thing I did was chop them all down to 6 by 12, and it did hurt a little bit. Not too much because I knew what I was doing. You've got to decide when you've got directional pattern whether or not you want these, like in this case the stripes, to go that way or that way. I chose this way. And the other thing that you had to look out for was the sheets here that had the sort of star sort of shapes. It was kind of directional. This way the hearts are the right way up, so I chose that. If you'd have gone that way, your hearts would have been on the side, so that's what I kind of looked out for. And the other thing you've got to think about is they're going to be folded that way and then that way, so deciding on which is going to be on the outside and which is on the inside. With a directional, you're going to have them on the inside, because if that was the outside, your hearts would then be upside down. So that kind of makes that decision sort of fairly easy. So that's that side. So those ones are definitely the inside. And then the other sheets, you've got to decide which one's going to be the inside and which is going to be the outside. And the ones on the inside you're going to see more of. The outside sheet you're not, because that's going to get stuck together. So I would be choosing that I want probably not as much grey as I do want the sea foam. So I'd probably choose it to go that way. And about choosing the cover, I think the stripy one would be nice for a cover, so that'll put the pink on the inside of this book. And this book, the spotty one might be a nice cover, I think. and we'll have those as the inside pockets, and they'll kind of match, and I think that'll be quite nice. So what we do with these is to create our pages is we are going to score down the middle at 6 inches and then rotate and then score at 2 inches because each of your pages are going to be 6 by 4, so they aren't quite going to take a full-size photo, but actually if you have your digital prints printed, the digital print size isn't quite 6 by 4, they're slightly smaller, and most photos you can take them so that you can actually trim a little bit around the edges. And in the case of when my kids were little, I didn't have a digital camera to begin with, so lots of the photos that I took were kind of hit and miss a lot of the times, and actually there was a lot of space around them, so they can be easily trimmed down. So you do that on each of the sheets, and then it's just a matter of folding and burnishing each of the score lines. And then fold it over. So you're going to do that for each of them. Okay, I'll do one more so you know what I'm doing, and then I'll do the rest off camera because you don't need to see that. I'll do one that's a different colour. So you score down 6 inches, score down 2 inches, fold and burnish. So very similar to the 6 by 6 one sheet wonder that I've done before. I just wanted to make it a bit different and to put bigger photos in. And so this will get glued together so you won't actually see most of that grey, and then this will get decorated and these will get glued together. So I shall carry on and prepare all of those pages and come back to you with the next stage. So I have prepped all the pieces now, and I've actually stuck one of them together, and I shall stick the other one together with you. I went for 5 pages in the end, and so I've kept back these 2 sheets because I thought they would make nice tags and things of all the paper that was in there. I felt they would make the better ones. I have put 2 pocket pages in here in the centre of the book, and the others I have stuck down. You could make all of them pocket pages if you wanted to. This one there was slight variation, sort of human error there, so I've sort of trimmed it down. But on this one, what I did was I kind of made sure that they were, each of them, the same size, and did a little slight shaving off so that they were all definitely the same size before I started. Okay, so the first thing you've got to do on each of the sheets is to glue the edges of the pockets. So I would always, if you've seen my videos before when I've done mini albums, I always glue pockets with wet glue, because if you use tape adhesive you always have a sticky residue left behind, whereas wet glue dries, and so you've got no chance of any tags that you put in getting stuck, whereas tape always remains a little bit sticky. You usually get some edges that they'll always be there to catch. So do this on all of these edges. You don't have to do the centre because it's not going to open. And it just uses down. And if I show you, so the middle's not, but it doesn't matter. When that's got a bit of a spine on it, you're never going to notice. But if you want to glue that middle bit, then you can. So I'm going to carry on doing this at speed it up for you. So that's all the flaps glued. So now it's a case of gluing these pages together. And when I did the other one, I left those two centre one as pockets. The reason why I didn't do them all as pockets was because I felt that the book would be stronger if we had good adhesion there, rather than pockets on each, because you'd only be gluing around the edge. So these two are going to be firmly glued, and these two I might leave to a pocket. Okay, so I shall show you how I did a full edge and then a pocket one. So I've got this so it comes out slowly, and I'm just going to make it come out a little bit quicker. So I'm covering the whole of this edge with glue. Spreading it about a bit. Don't want it to ooze over the edge, so I haven't gone right up to the edge, apart from there. And then what I did was, whilst it was stood up, making sure the pockets at the bottom, I moved them together like so on the edges. And then I took my bone folder, smooth it out, and have a good stick there. And then for the one that's going to be a pocket, you're just going to put glue round these three edges and leave that top one open. Just adds a little bit of interactivity with the album, extra space for journaling and photos. I'm not going to put a massive tag in here, so I am going to have quite a bit of a margin of glue going around so that it's still strong. And then in the same way, I stood it up, got my next page and joined them together so that they were flat down on each side. Got a little bit of wigglage if needed. And it is only glued on those three sides. got an opening there to put a little tag in. And then I carry on and do the others, so I will speed up the next 2 pages. So there we have the basics of our 2 little mini scrapbooks. So now I just need to make the photo mats and the tags and decorate the front. I will be getting I used a bit of cardstock and some ribbon for the closure, so I will probably be doing that again, and I shall talk you through the process, well, show you the process. So now we're ready for the exciting bit of decorating the album. So each of the pages has a photo mat, and I've cut that out of Whisper White, and each of them measure 5 3/8 by 3 3/4, so they won't quite fit a 6 by 4 photo, but as I explained before, you can easily cut big ones down slightly, or you could use a little one and then put a bit of journaling next to it. So I have completed the other album, so I'll give you a flick through of that, and then I will show you how I put it together using this one. Okay, so this is the boy album finished. So I've done a nice little spine, used some metallic ribbon, decorated the front there. I just love that saying, isn't it cute? And got some buttons there. They are retired buttons. They were Whisper White buttons, which I coloured with blends, and I quite like buttons on baby albums. I just think they're cute. Okay, use the stitch rectangles there to decorate the front, and use the feet for that. So each of the mats I have just put a bit of washi around. Again, this is retired washi that I had that was the right colour. I mean, really, they're going to get covered up, but if you're giving this as a present, it is actually quite nice to just do a little bit of decoration on the mats, makes it look quite pretty. And then I've done a tag with each, so that you could, if you were filling it with a full picture on each side, you've got a little tag there where you could write something about it. And I've just put hands on each of them, so we've got the left and the right on each side to sort of match. And I've used, on this one I put some ribbon and some baker's twine. On all the rest it's just baker's twine, because actually you've got to be really careful of putting things that are too bulky in albums, because it can form an indentation depending on how you store your album, and you don't want that. This scalloped edge is from the Seasonal Layers die set, and that has this sort of long scallop, so each of them are cut out with that. So what I did was I cut strips, and I've got these ready for cutting out. So these are 3/4 of an inch by 5 7 inches. So if you take a standard sheet of cardstock and cut it in half, I know for American sizes it's going to be slightly different. It's going to be 5 1/2, isn't it? I think 5 1/2 will still work. Let me check that with my ruler. Will 5 1/2? No, 5 1/2 is going to be a bit short, so you really do need to make it a little bit more. You can cut it to 6 just to be on the safe side. You're going to cut the ends off anyway, but 3/4 of an inch is sort of the right sort of size, and then a little bit of washi tape on each side, and I just sort of stick it with a little bit of a gap between the scallop and the top like that, and that gives you this nice little sort of edge there, and you can see you've got like an indentation on it, and I've done it so that they match the top side of each page like that. So so I've cut this out so that I've got my petal pinks and my seafoam, soft seafoam, ready to cut. So I'll cut those in a second. And then I've used the Well Said dies here, and I've also used the Celebrate You dies there. I've got to celebrate. And then to cut the words out, I've used the well said. So I picked out some of the sayings there. So I've got, so happy you're here. You mean the world to me. So I've put love you. You mean the world to me. And then hooray, time for the new adventure. So I figure if you like following, you know, maybe when they're a baby before they're a toddler, toddler is the next stage, and that is an adventure, isn't it? And then the ones in between I took from Wonderful Moments. So I've put dreams come true, dream come true rather, and then the little things you do, and I just took a bit from there where it says the little things you do make the world a whole lot better. But I just took that amazing little things, the little things you do, which I think is, you know, quite cute for a baby, isn't it? They smile, and that's amazing, isn't it? They gurgle, that's amazing. They pump, that's amazing. So yeah, so that's how I sort of decorated all the way through. And on this one, because I didn't have any washi tape, I stamped my own on that, and I'll show you how I did that. And then for these tags here, they are 5 inches by 2.5, and then I just used the circle tag topper punch there for a pull, and just put a 3/4 circle in the right colours to match, and I just stamped with a bit of feet. And again, that could have a photo in it, it could have a bit of memorabilia, it could have journaling. Okay, and this one's got the pool party. Okay, oh, and the tags, these tags are 2 inches wide, obviously, because that's the scalloped punch, topper punch, by 3 3/4, and then just rounded the bottoms to do that. So I'm going to show you how I did those things. So if I show you how I did the washi tape first, because I still haven't got this washi tape, so I shall demonstrate on one of them. So I used my grid mat, stuck that across at 3 inches. That's what I did. It's all coming back to me now. That's not quite straight. And then went down 1/2 inch. Oh. Take some of that sticky off, go down 1/2 inch. And that's how I got that. Yeah, that is exactly how I did that. There we go. And then I took the stars and the dots from First Steps, so I've used those two there, and I went over it in grey granite and soft sea foam so that it sort of matched. So I did grey granite stars, and I just stamped on, kind of moved it a bit as I went. And then took the dots and went over with the dots. I kind of went down and up. Didn't really care that it overlapped anywhere. And that was basically what I did. So I did that on each side of the photo mat. And you could, so I was just, in case you haven't got the washi tape, that was what I did. Now you've got to be careful because that is going to have a little bit of wet ink on this washi tape, so don't smudge it anywhere. that is it. So that's me fake washi tape. Okay, so that went in these pages, and then for these ones I had an array of washi tape. I've just got loads, most of it retired, all of this retired in fact, so I just sort of picked out ones that would sort of match. So I've got a pink one here, and so again using my grid mat to help me, put that along again there at 3 inches. It's not quite straight. So I went over at 3 inches there to 3 inches there, and then just turned it over, matched this end of the washi tape up with this end, and then snipped off the end. And that's how I did these. So just gave you a little bit of something there. So that was how I did those. And then the little tags for each of them. So I've got my 2 inches by 3 3/4 inch, got me tag top punch, shoved it in, and then I rounded the corners using this trio punch. And whilst I've got the trio punch, I may as well do the tags, the big tags for the big pockets. So these are 5 inches by 2.5, and round the ends. And you could, if you wanted to, go in and make those ends decorative as well. For these you need the circle tab punch, and we need 2 of these. Oh, I rounded the tops as well, and then I just put a little bit of stamping. I have to put feet on one and hands on the other. Can't decide if I like the little hands or the little feet best. I did do a baby card recently, and I kind of asked what people preferred. Well, that's probably because I put one of each on the card, and I was asking if he preferred the one with a pair of feet or one of each, and most people preferred it in pairs. So then that just gets stuck on the centre. Eyeball that so it's in the middle. Got a bit of oozing. And then we'll have some soft sea foam. On one side, let me double check where it's going. So it's going, pocket in there, and pocket in there, yeah. So one side's going to be soft sea foam, and then this side needs to be petal pink. I do have these sheets that could be used as well. Right. I think what I do sometimes actually is I decorate as I go along, because then I make my decision as I'm going as to what I want to do. So that pops in there. So you've got your your coloured circles sticking out. So then I just do the stamping on these. So we'll get some petal pink. And then what I did was, for these ones, I took the hands, did a left on one and a right on the other, just in the corner. Like so. And on this one I used the feet. Did I not get the feet out? It would seem not. And I just did feet walking. That side. Like so. And that is how I did the tags. And so I just loop that round and tied it up. You could of course not do this bit at all. I've managed to make that uneven, and then I just did a knot so that it stayed in place like so. So that's the tags. So I've cut them all out, and so I just wanted to show you kind of what it looks like. I did use my sticky tape because even though I've got a magnetic platform, sometimes they sort of jump a bit, and I wanted to be pretty accurate with the cutting. So they've all got a slight end bit, and I'm just going to neaten them off. So I just kind of follow in that curve there, and then do it at the other side for each of them, and that's how I neaten off the edges ready for sticking in. So I'll carry on and do that, but because I've cut the strips at 3/4 of an inch, you've got these bits here, and I thought whilst I was cutting them that you could maybe use this to decorate your photo mat if you wanted to. Just another little idea there if you wanted to do that. So they're all done now, and so all we need to do is stick them in, and it just requires a little bead of glue, kind of match them up because there's might be slight errors in how I lined them up in the first place. So I just put a bit of glue along the edge and then round the curve. And then stuck them down, pushing up to the edge of the pocket. But there's a slight gap either side, and I didn't want it to go all the way across because you don't want bulk in the middle. And then once these are stuck down, you can see how much room you've got left for decorating, and you can decorate it in any way you want. I do have some other baby dies, which are retired now, which I will probably use throughout this as well. There we go. I shall finish that off camera. So looking at the one that I've done, and I've just copied straight across. So on the first page there I've got welcome baby, so I've got all my die cuts cut out. So I've got the welcome, baby there. I've chosen to do them in white. You could do them in any of the colours there, but I did white on this because it showed up really well, because this was dark, and I'm going to stick to it here. And then I've done the so happy for you, and I really like the look of stamping and cutting around the words. So I've got lots and lots of offcuts from when I was trimming things to size, and I'm going to do that in the petal pink. Again, could choose any colour, but I'm going to do petal pink, and just stamping that on there. And then I'm going to use my long scissors that I've got to help me get a good straight cut on this. Then cut the two ends and then cut in quite close to the words. So that's, and I'm going to do it down a bit there rather than do it up there, because it'll get lost on that white. So I'm gonna, I might even put it down there. On this one I did it under the scallop, but I want it to stand out, so I might do it in there. I just did little dabs. So I like to stick words at an angle, because that way, fine, if you try and get something straight, you can't, and it's noticeable if you do it wrong. Whereas if you put it at an angle, it's at an angle, isn't it? So it doesn't really matter if it's not straight, because you weren't trying to make it straight. Just a straight line on that one. Stick it on there. So I shall continue to do those, and then we'll be ready to do the spine and the closure after. So I just wanted to show you two things about sticking these in. On this page, because of that background, I thought the white kind of got lost, so I've cut it out in petal pink, which I think looks a lot better. And on this one I did the same, I did it in Pool Party. So, and on this one, when I stamped out Dream Come True, and I just wanted to show you that I just used my long scissors again to cut them close to the words, the letters, in the same way to stick them down, like so. That's how I did that. So got everything ready now to decorate the front. So I've got a bit for the spine here, which is 4 inches by 2.5. And then I've got scrap here of Whisper White, which I'm going to stamp the feet over to make the front panel, and then another little scrap for little feet. Leave big imprints on your hearts. I really like that. And then I've got a bit of Petal Pink, which I'm going to cut the frames out. So looking at your stitched framelets, you want the second biggest and the next one down for your frame around there, and then you're going to cut your stamped feet out of that one as well. And then for this one, it is the two smallest to do that one, and I will be cutting that frame out the center of that, save on cardstock. Okay, and the buttons, they are retired buttons. I've also got my metallic ribbon. These were on clearance quite a while ago, and I've used these before, and I'm just going to colour them. So picking out the buttons. These coloured really well with the Night of Navy blend. I don't have Petal Pink. I haven't bought that yet. I did have Pink Pirouette, which I was kind of using, but I've sold that now. So what I did is I've got the light Clips of Coral, which, if you look at the lids, not bad. So I'm actually going to give that a whirl. So just going to put a bit of scrap underneath here so that it doesn't bleed all the way through the stamp mat. So I've got a little pokey thing here that I'm putting through the hole in the button to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to colour it. Get the sides as well. And then I did leave it to dry for a bit before I turned it over and coloured the bottom of that as well. And if you put that next to the Petal Pink, I think that's pretty alright, that. I like that, so that's what I'll be doing. So that's how I coloured those, as I say. So I've got everything mounted, got my Pink Pirouette. So this was just a bit of fun, going over with the feet. And then we'll just do our sentiment. Like so. And then those are going to get cut out. So that one's going to get cut out with this. Go over that way a little bit. And then that one's going to get cut out with that. Okay, so I'll get all those cut out along with me bit of Petal Pink and come back to you. So that's all me die cutting done there. Got my little frame. Oh, managed to get there. That's fine. So that's going to go on there, cover up that slight gap that was there. Go nicely on there. And then for the spine bit, I take my scoreboard, so it's 2.5 by 4, and I just score it down every 1/8 of an inch. Gives a little bit of interest, and it helps with it sort of folding over, and so you don't get any sort of creases, because you've got these score lines which help with the folding round the spine bit. I've done this before on albums. I like it. I've also done it where I've run it through an embossing folder and done that with it as well, so you can do sort of either, and then I just give it a bit of a curl round. You can do it so that it's that way or that way, whichever you like. I like this way. And so this I stick on before I'd stick the front end on, but of course you need to put the ribbon round it before you do any of that. So we need a bit of ribbon, and we need enough excess to tie it in a bow. 28 or 29 inches there I've done, so that needs to get fastened. In fact, I might use tear and tape. So I'll just put a bit at the centre point there. Take the centre point of the ribbon and stick that down. There we go, so that's held in place there, and you're going to stick some more when you're sticking that on. So I'm going to put glue down the centre, well, all over really. Make sure I've got it on the edges. And then this. I'm going to glue it down that spine bit and then fold it round. Like so. And then what I did was I got to think about this. So I had it going under there but over there. So you're going to stick this under there. So that it's caught underneath the frame, and then underneath this centre point here. Okay, so this frame is butted up against this spine, so that kind of helps keep it in place. So I'm going to stick this down with that there. So it's ever so slightly fiddly, but not that bad really. Because that is going to be butted up against the spine, you can kind of hold it in place, pull the ribbon back, and then stick that down. And then we know where to put this. So a little bit. Glue around these edges. And once again, feeding that through. So match it up at that end. That'll stick down nicely, and then we're going to stick that down there. So I'm going to put a bit of tear and tape in the middle to stick this ribbon down. Before I stick that on top, just to give it some added security, so we're not putting a strain on this topper. I think it ran out of video a little bit there, and I think I was just sticking the end of this on. So the last thing to do is the buttons. So these are just going to get stuck on there, and I do think that that light Calypso Coral is a really good match there for the petal pink. So I'm just going to get some glue dots, and I'm going to put 2 on this big one. Stick that in the middle there, sort of where the ribbon is, and then stick these either side. That. So a bit of a long one, but it is a long process when you're making mini albums. So that's it all finished. So just needs lots of lovely photos and memories to go in there, and then that will just like so. And that's me 2. One for a girl and one for a boy. Oh, I've tied that one out and this one in. There we go. So, hope you liked that. Hope you give it a go. Please show me if you do. And yeah, hope you stayed with me for this sort of marathon. And hope you like the result. If you click down below, you'll be able to go to the blog where I'll have all the measurements there for you, and some close-up photographs, and they'll be linked to my shop if you want to buy any of these lovely things that are only available until the new catalogue's out at the beginning of June, so get in quick whilst you can. And if you would like a catalogue, also you can message me, put in a catalogue request that is on the sidebar of my blog. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you again soon.